My pleasure.
Okay, sorry for keeping people waiting if you have been waiting for a while.
Thank you.
It's a little hard to get through this maze of a place that we work here in a quick way, but we'll try and do that. My name is Russ Paladino. I'm the sales manager for Europadisk, Cyberdisc, and you'll also meet Carl Rizzo, who's another salesman here. Guys, can we do that outside or something? I'm just trying to get this moving. Let me just tell you quickly a little bit about Europadisk. We're New York City's only CD manufacturer that actually manufactures the discs in-house. Also, we're the only vinyl record manufacturer in New York City that does this in-house. We also do high-speed cassette duplication here. We have a complete mastering facility for all the different formats, audio mastering facility as well. And we're going to try and get into all these different areas and show you exactly what we do. We're here since 1977, and a lot of people, wonder about, what's Cyberdisc, what's Europadisk, and all of that. Cyberdisc is what we're known as in the multimedia field, and Europadisk is a long-established name that we've developed in the audio area. I did about 60 of these today, and if anybody doesn't get one, if you want to take my card or leave me your card if you have one, I'll be happy to mail you another copy of this. But basically what I put together for you is a master tape specification guide, because probably a lot of you folks are either engineers or working in studios all the time, and even from major places like Hit Factory or whatever, sometimes I get masters that are well prepared sonically and set up correctly for somebody to take it and listen to, but it's not set up correctly for manufacturing. So this will help you with that. Whatever you want to send, analog, digital, or whatever. And I also put together a flow chart. I don't like to dazzle people with the technicalities so much as just explain to you what you need to know to a degree that you can understand it. So that's what this is. It's a layman's breakdown of all the stuff that you're going to see today and the steps of the manufacturing process for CD, records, and cassettes. Anybody that wants to, I'm sending you a glass master. Why do you need the glass master? Because a CDR looks kind of glassy, does not a CDR glass master make. But we do make glass masters here, and normally in the past, if you read audio magazines, you'll see people walking around in total enclosure gear and sterile room environment. Now, state of the art allows us to do all of that within this one unit here, which is an ODME unit. And basically, it'll do everything from spin coat the photoresist on the disc to form the final stamper, or deposit the final stamper. So let me just step you through the process. The glass master is created within this unit here. You'll see all this other equipment here, software and whatnot. That's the diagnostic equipment that we'll use to test the CD master before it ever goes to that phase of making a glass master. We can check for different types of errors, block error, E32 error, physical properties of the disc, the formatting of the disc. If it's supposed to be a multi-session mode 1 disc, we're able to look at that and see that the file structure is correct before we even go into the process of making a glass master, which we will make ultimately to be able to have a stamper or a mold for the press. The process starts here with a round piece of glass, nice, clean, pristine piece of glass. These are our samples, so you may see some fingerprints, but I'll assure you there are no fingerprints on your product. It's a little hard to tell, but next thing we would do is add a special material called photoresist, which is used in photographic processing, and it's what we write the data for the disc in. The photoresist coated disc is then etched with the information with a laser beam recorder. Laser beam turns on and turns off. When it turns on, it leaves information that will become a pit. When it turns off, it leaves a land between two pits. That's the way data on a CD is represented, as a series of pits and lands. The overly simplified way of describing it is that digital information is zeros and ones. Combinations of pits and lands represent that digital information. After the laser beam recorder etches the information or turns on and off, this goes into an actual solution, which is a developing process, which literally washes away the areas where the laser beam was turned on and leaves that pit. Next, we'll add a very, very thin layer of nickel, which shores up the data surface and also gives us a good surface to actually plate a nickel stamper to. We'll actually, within this unit, submerge it in a bath of chemicals, which, after a period of time with an electrical current passing through it, starts to form a film of nickel on the surface of the glass master. After a certain period of time, it gets to a mill thickness that's thick enough to be able to take it, physically separate it from the glass master. Glass master is now garbage, but what we have left is what is going to be shaped and formed into the mold for the press. Just like a record that's manufactured starts with a master, that the grooves are actually cut, you could actually play the master. In order to make a record, you need to produce a piece of metal from that master that can be used as a mold on the press. That has to be an opposite impression, and the way you can think of that process is, okay, if this is a pit that's formed on the surface of the glass master, and we plate metal to it, what you have is something that conforms to the shape of that pit. But when you separate it away, you have a pit here, which is the positive impression, and now you've got a land here, or a series of bumps, that's the negative impression. We need those bumps to push pits into the plastic that makes up the CD. Silkscreen printer, which does 4 colors at a time. Let's pay attention to replication for a second, and I'll give you an overview on silkscreen printing. Plastic printed disc is injection molding. So what's happening is the plastic for the disc starts as pellets, is sucked in through a vacuum system into a system that heats it into a molten state. The stamper is mounted up to the mold cavity. When it comes together, the plastic is injected into the cavity against the stamper and molds all the data into the plastic. A lot of people think that the data is recorded on the metal or something of that nature. The metal layer makes it readable because the laser beam doesn't read the data directly. It reflects off of that metallized coating back up to a processor. The data is stored in the disk. Let me illustrate that point in a second. You can tell the difference by the center, which is perfectly clear. The data is in the plastic. Ian is actually setting up right now a new job and mounting in the stamper for the next job that's coming up. Just sort of have to wait for them to clear out because I can show you the actual process a little bit better on the other machine. Coated with this blocking material, and then we literally develop a way, the blocking material whatever turns up orange again, or wherever the blocking material is burned away, will allow ink to pass through and print on that disc. So we make a frame and a silk screen for each individual color. Now there are two types of processes that we do. This here is a two-color disc, black and green, and this is Pantone colors. Okay, printer's inks are PMS or Pantone colors. That comes in a Fandex, just like you would go to a store. You're going to paint a room and look at their different color chips. That's what we do. We match color chips. And the other type of processing is four-color process, which is four special types of inks: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, which, when they lay on top of each other in various strengths and degrees, come together and create full-color discs. Now we do four-color process, and we do five-color. Five-color is a four-color disc on a white background. I'll show you the differentiation. Okay, these are four-color discs. These colors that you see were actually made up with red, blue, black, and yellow laying on top of each other and coming together to combine to make these colors. We printed these on a white background so that those colors would be true, and what the artist specified as white showed up as white. This is four-color process without the white background, wherein they wanted to show silver, or use it as an effect, a shimmery effect. So this is a four-color process, and it's not true to color like four-color process on white, but it's used as an effect. So that's basically how we create discs that look like this, picture discs and things like that. Now these silk screens are actually taken and mounted on these presses in a bath of chemicals. You pass some electrical current through it, and little by little, a film of nickel forms on the surface, and then like that too, we separate it manually. You can make other parts from that part that we separate, so that making some good effects. So unfortunately, trying to do that after hours, and kind of fell with the smoke in the store. But I can show you what happens, and it's very similar to the way the CD is pressed. From the masters, we make a stamper for the A side and the B side. We have the record labels for the A side and the B side that are automatically, with an arm, mechanical arm brought to the center. We suction in vinyl pellets into the top where it's heated, turned into a molten state, and formed into something that looks like a hockey puck. And we usually have one on. George is going to get that and show you. Okay, so it comes down, and it's in a hot molten state. You wouldn't be able to touch it at this point if this was newly deposited. But it comes down and it's placed in between the two stampers with the labels on top and bottom. And this is a hydraulic press. It's a whole lot of force. It comes together and it literally squeezes the grooves of the record into the vinyl. So obviously this is the mirror image or the negative impression. And instead of grooves, we couldn't play these because we have ridges representing the shape of the grooves. So it squeezes between the two stampers and puts all the information in there. It squeezes the record labels or presses the labels into the vinyl so that they actually become part of the vinyl. And then it opens up, pulls the record back, and trims off the extra edge, which goes into a clean barrel, and then we take it and we regrind it and reuse it. It looks like a full size, actually. Yeah, that one actually, no, maybe it has a large gap. The 7-inch records are made out of here.